Okay, John. Um, Welcome to the What, Why, and How Can I podcast, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, excited to have you on. You are the founder of Blendy. We'll find out all about that today and find out what it is, why you decided to go there, why something, why build a business that you can sell, hopefully, and then
Yes.
how someone else can learn from your experience. I'm sure you've learned a lot of things that you had no idea going through the process and going through the steps. So if you want to introduce yourself, kind of your backstory, how you came up, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, thank you, Reslin. I started Blendy back in 2016 in my college dorm as a freshman, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And it was April of my freshman year at Springfield College. And I was an avid bodybuilder. I competed naturally, so naturally I was going to the gym, and after going to the gym, I would always have a protein shake,
Mm-hmm.
and this in the protein shake I'd always have it in a shaker bottle, and I was shaking it up one day, right, and it kind of just hit me when I was drinking it that I would always get these clumpy protein shakes, and I was just getting so sick of having like these strenuous, crazy workouts and then having to eat my protein after. I thought that it was kind of, not, it wasn't fun basically to eat your protein. So I said to myself, okay, is there any way that we can, recreate this or make this better? Can we like replicate my at-home blending experience, but in the palm of my hand after the workout, right?
Mm-hmm.
How can we do that? So I actually found this other product called the Pro Mix, and what that did was that it had stirrers, oscillating stirrers. So I bought that. It was like $40. It had plastic oscillating stirrers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it worked okay. It wasn't powerful. When you turn it on, there wasn't really a big power surge. It kind of just weakly oscillated. And then I dropped it after a week and it broke. So I was out $40. It was cheap, and I was left back at the drawing board. I
Mm-hmm.
found nothing that could truly replicate my at-home blender.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to go, full in. I like drew something on Microsoft Paint that looked, like it. And then I went straight to Upwork because I was like, I have no engineering like expertise, none of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I just looked up freelance engineer because I thought that that's who could do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, that is the case. And so I found this engineer, and they built me, or they drew CAD drawings on some 3D rendering, and that was the beginning pretty much. And that all happened in a 2-week time frame from originally having the problem to then having the 3D CAD drawings.
Wow, that's awesome. So how did you go about explaining to the engineers what exactly you're looking for? Off your sketches, pictures, or you just kind of
Yeah,
explaining, talking to them?
I sent him the Microsoft Paint, and he was, I mean, it was okay. Wasn't the best,
Yeah, yeah.
but when you explain to them, saying that I want to create a shaker bottle, but the bottom has blades,
Mm-hmm.
and then taking this idea with a Pro Mix, but then making it stainless steel blades, and then making it so that the blades can have enough torque and power to crush ice and fruits and vegetables, all that stuff. Then they
Mm-hmm.
get it. They get the gist. Yeah,
Okay, okay.
yeah.
So as an idea or as a business, what is Blendy, like the goal?
Yeah, so the goal is to create a healthy lifestyle brand,
Mm-hmm.
and this is just a beginning product. Even though we've been doing this, or I've been doing this since 2016,
Mm-hmm.
we've been selling for 2 years, and we're getting kind of, I would say, end of product life cycle to where we can start building out more products,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's where this kind of healthy brand lifestyle comes in. And I flirted with the idea of calling it Blend, which is BLND, and it stands for Believe, Live, Nourish, and Do. I
Mm-hmm.
thought that's really cool, in making a brand not only just based off a product name,
Yeah.
but so it can house multiple products, right? And that's basically the next step into creating what is this healthy lifestyle brand, but it's not super bodybuilding centric or super hardcore fitness. It's more your laid back, but wants to be healthy person, maybe a
Mm-hmm.
mom who does yoga, someone like that, who cares about their health, cares about their kids or their family's health,
Mm-hmm.
and wants to live that healthy, active lifestyle.
So Blendy is not is not just a blender anymore. It's a more of a company now that
Yeah,
with hopefully in the future with multiple products, like you said, for
yeah,
fitness, for health, for a healthy lifestyle. Um, I'd love to hear about more about the process that the kind of that you went through,
yeah.
creating the first initial product of Blendy, which is the blender. I checked out your the Blendy Instagram page. It's pretty
Mhm.
cool. Comes in different colors and
Yeah,
different bottles and all that type of stuff. It looks pretty like you could throw it in your gym bag type of thing. So that's pretty
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, so and then so it's interesting that you say throw it in your gym bag because um it has this really cool feature where when you twist it, it will not turn on or it will turn on. So there's a magnetic strip, right? So even if you did expose the blades in there, let's say into your gym bag,
Mm-hmm.
they wouldn't turn on. You can't kill anyone with it if you just press the button because you have to have that magnetic click,
Mm.
which is important. So that's part of the design process.
Mm-hmm.
But when creating this, right, going from those 3D CAD drawings and working with that engineer, I understood that to make something physical, I would need an engineer in person. And it just so happened that I got this basically an invitation to go to this program called 3 Day Startup,
Mm-hmm.
which was at an adjacent college right by Springfield College. And my college was not offering any entrepreneurial things because I was going there for physical therapy. It's a health school. It's not really a business school, but
Mm-hmm.
I transitioned my sophomore year into business, and
Okay.
and it was one of the best moves I could have made. But they just were not specializing in that. So one of the lessons to be learned is if you can't find it, you have to be resourceful,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a big reason why I'm here right now. But as I digress, going into 3 Day Startup, it's a basically a pitch program with college kids. You
Mm-hmm.
pitch your idea in front of, I would say, 40, and then the top five get selected. So those five entrepreneurs, and I was included in one of them because I
Mm-hmm.
had 3D CAD drawings, and no one was prepared with that.
Mm-hmm.
People would just join, your team, right?
Yeah.
So every other team had 5 to 6 people with them, and it was just me, this one kid just chose me, and that was it. It was just me and him, and he was a mechanical engineer. And long story short, we basically took a $15 Walmart blender.
Mm-hmm.
We gutted the bottom of it. We cut the cord on it. We kept all the internal motors and things like that. Took a separate drill,
Mm-hmm.
took the drill battery, attached it to the side of the blender.
Mm-hmm.
Then, and he did all this. I just watched pretty much. But then he hardwired it into the $15 Walmart blender.
Yeah.
And so when you're pulling the drill trigger, it would actually be spinning. And
That's
it's
cool.
just really cool proof of concept that that showed you that you could have a truly portable blender.
That's awesome. Wow,
Yeah,
that's definitely open. It kind of makes you think outside the box of how far you can go with an idea.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so you 2 weeks. You got to the 3D drawings,
Yep.
and then
And then
I'm sure your mind just kind of wandered off of all the things you can do with this.
yeah, so it was interesting because my mindset was not business at all coming out of freshman year.
Mm-hmm.
And I read this book called Think and Grow Rich, and it like just changed my whole mindset. And
Mm-hmm.
when you say your mind what must have gone crazy, it did. Like I underwent basically a revolution in my head because I just turned this mindset into thinking that things like happen to you and saying that things happen for me, and
Mm-hmm.
I have control over what I can control, and I can control this business and do anything I needed to get it done. And if I have this mind or this mindset and these goals, and I can achieve it, right?
Right.
And so that was a big thing that kind of took place in that summer.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the fall is when I enrolled in 3 Day Startup, and I was ready to go pretty much. But even then, I'll be honest with you, it wasn't so cut and dry as to say that, okay, this is going to be big, this is going to be it, this is going to be a big part of my life. It just was not.
Mm-hmm.
And for me to even say that would be, it just wasn't right. So still health was a big part of my life, and I was just getting into the business field. I didn't really know what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I just chose marketing as, this kind of backbone. But, I didn't know what would happen. So
Okay.
yeah,
So, let's go into the process.
sure.
You had the 3D. You came up with a 3D. I'm guessing you hired engineers to make what was your first product? I mean, I wouldn't even know
Yeah.
where to start. You
Yeah,
probably did
yeah,
a ton of
there's a lot.
research.
Yeah, so I'll keep the story going.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
after a 3 day startup happened, I enrolled in another entrepreneurial help program
Mm-hmm.
in our city, and I just so happened to choose Springfield, Mass, as my like home for college. But they had a great entrepreneurial hub there, and it was called Valley Venture Mentors, and they do this accelerator program and a mentorship program. And I originally got into the mentorship program, met this guy who works at UMass,
Mm-hmm.
University of Massachusetts,
Mm-hmm.
and basically mentioned to me, "Oh, hey, I can get you into the senior engineering capstone project. We can submit your product into it, and then basically these seniors work on it, create prototypes for you." And I said, hell yeah, like sign me up. I need that,
Yeah.
because unless you don't like find something like this, you're looking at 3D printing costs of over 10 grand, just to get a
Really.
prototype done. And I was looking at realistically costs of under $1,000 to have these prototypes made with UMass and being a part of this project.
That's awesome.
So so the incentive was insane for me to do, and I was managing two different teams. That's how much interest. So it was a total. When I only had one engineer working on a 3 day startup, I actually had 11 different engineers now working on it. Whereas a lot of the other projects only had one team. I had two different teams.
Mm-hmm.
So they were going head to head against each other, trying to create the best prototype.
That's
And one
awesome.
team really knocked it out of the park. And they took a blender bottle, cut out the bottom, they created literally their own bottom to it, so it could stir up into the blender bottle itself, and then you just hit the button and the blades would spin. I mean, it was sick. It
Wow.
was exactly what I wanted. They won best entrepreneurial award for their prototype that they made, and so that's basically like me winning as well. And that was a super proud moment for all of us. And then once that happened, that was kind of like that was the moment where that was it. I mean, I had done a lot of market research in terms of asking people questions. My school was just getting to know who I was and what I was doing. And then once they won Best Entrepreneurial World Award and I saw what this product could look like and become, I was basically just going 100% into this. And I knew that that was going to be a big part of who I was going to become.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was a cool moment.
That I bet that is an awesome moment. It's probably
Yeah.
like I don't want to say it was the top because you still have so much more to go, but it
Yeah.
was definitely something that pushed you forward. Um
Yes.
so you said
And speaking about going forward,
mhm,
there's a lot of times where you might want to quit or you might feel unmotivated. But as long as you do something each day, whether it's so minuscule as contacting someone about it, emailing someone, it could get you to the next level and next step, and just keep you the momentum going.
right, you never
Yeah.
what I've learned is you never know like my motto is kind of don't ever take any relationship for granted.
Mm.
You never know what that relationship will bring for you in the future for your life.
Yeah.
Um, so that's an awesome way to look at it. So it sounds like you were trying to go into like sports or health at the
Mhm.
beginning of when you started college.
Yes. Yeah.
And then you had this idea, you moved forward with it, and Blendy happened.
Yeah.
First question is why, or no, the first question would be how, like, did you get the guts or the courage just to like, hey, let me try this out. This was never my plan, but let
Yeah.
me invest time and money into this and see if it works out.
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple things working here, and the fact that one was physical therapy is an extremely tough major.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking at getting a doctor, and that's what I was going for. And I kind of saw the writing on the wall, which was not good grades. I mean, I had okay grades, but not enough to get into a good school for
Mm-hmm.
and get my doctorate. So I saw that, and I saw what was coming up in terms of classes. I was like, okay, let's just transition into business. I had to run an eBay store. My whole family was in business, so it made sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the kind of leap of faith there. And
Okay.
then when you're in college, surprisingly enough, I mean, I was doing RA stuff, I was working at the Rockwall, but I still had time. And I was not really a big partier. I wasn't a big, I didn't really like going out that much. I mean, it's fun every now and then, but I had still a lot of time. And so there was almost no risk for me not to work on Blendy, not to pursue it.
Mm-hmm.
what there's now is like if you work, then you kind of have to balance this. You have to say to yourself, okay, I might be taking up, it's like almost 12 p.m. and I have work tomorrow. That's I'm cutting out XYZ amount of time into my sleep, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not really a factor in college. There's just so much open time that you can take that risk.
Mm-hmm.
So I just always looked at life, and I still do, as risk versus reward.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay, that's awesome. I'm trying to think back to college, and a lot of people that I know that were in
yeah,
college either became successful or totally flunked and now are kind of simply put failures in life.
yeah,
Um, so there's those two different types of people. People like yourself that kind of use time wisely, and then other people that are like, well, I have this time. My mom and dad isn't here. I might as well screw off and go do whatever I want.
yeah,
So that's awesome. Um, why you said you were already in health and a bodybuilder,
yeah.
but why stick with Blendy? I'm sure you started doing it and you came across situations where you're like, dude, is this worth it? Is this worth pursuing? Is this going to
Yeah.
make sense in the future? Why stick with it? Why did you see this as something valuable?
Yeah, there was many times in which I was like, this is not going to work, or I wanted to quit.
Mm-hmm.
But, and actually one of those times is when I was about to get the first shipment of blendies from my manufacturer in China.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a lot of money, right? For a college kid. And I sat there in my car because I didn't have enough money and I had to take out a cash advance on my credit card.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, uh, I
What
don't
am I
know if I
doing?
can, yeah, like, and I was just thinking in my head, like, this is going to be such a either genius move or just awful move.
Yeah.
And then I said, I'm like, I think I was 19 or 20 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I will, God willing, right? I'll be alive till 80. A
Mm-hmm.
couple $1,000s is not going to really affect me that much in the grand scheme of life here. So,
Right.
and then I called my friend up who was also an entrepreneur, and I said, in the car, I was like, man, should I go ahead with this? He's like, well, you worked so hard to get here, and this is kind of the final step to where you can sell this. So why not, man?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, that's true. And so I took out, I think 3,000 was like all I needed in a cash advance. And luckily I just got this credit card that allowed me to do that. But what I didn't know is that they immediately charge you 25% interest on that 3,000.
Get out
So
of here.
you're already out of the hole, 3,000 times 0.25,
Yeah.
and then it just keeps accruing monthly. So I didn't know that until about a month in, and I saw that bill. I was like, whoa. So, but luckily we sold enough to cover it, and I was okay. But I was hustling a lot. But that was one moment in which I was like, all right, I don't know if I want to do this. The risk was insane.
Okay,
Uh,
so
but it, yeah.
go ahead, go ahead.
Well, to finish it,
Yeah.
I went to my bank, and the guy was like, "Are you sure you want to wire this money to China?" After I had just taken out this cash advance and I had like hundreds in my pocket,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Are you sure you have the Swift code right? Like you could lose all this money." I was like, "Oh my God, like just do this, like please get it over with, just send it, please."
Oh man.
Because I can't just keep sitting here. It was like about 3 hours of just grueling mental, questioning and things like that. But once I
Yeah.
got it done, it was kind of fun. And then a week later, they're like, "Oh yeah, it's they're done being made." They sent me pictures of it, and that was the coolest thing was seeing the pictures of it done with the logo on it, and everything was like surreal. I mean, it
Man.
was an insane moment.
I can only imagine. So your first shipment, how many did you order?
I think 300, and that was so low. That was not that much. Yeah,
Really, dude, I'm
yeah.
thinking 300. Like if say I'm thinking if I was ordering 300, I'm like, dude, how in the world am I gonna sell
Yeah.
these things?
Yeah, I had made such a small Indiegogo campaign and I had just friends and like I think I had maybe 20 people, but those 20 people I regard like so highly now. They'll always be uh that pivotal moment in my life where they supported me when I didn't even really have a product. They didn't even know that I could have not delivered.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So how did you go about? You get your first shipment. How do you go about selling these 300 blenders? I mean, you go to Macy's
Yeah.
or whatever. There's 60 different types of blenders. Now you have
Yeah.
one more.
Yeah, it's true. So that's basically where the marketing degree comes in, right? And a lot of the stuff that I learned was not in school. It was just by listening to podcasts. It was by watching YouTube videos, right? It was a lot of just self-learning, self-teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And I still do that. I mean, that's the best thing. But I attacked the free media game pretty hard. So I thought that was the best avenue to go about it. Was I've done almost no Facebook ads, no paid ads at all, and I've grown this pretty good without doing that. I think I've spent maybe 200, and I was just testing it out,
Mm-hmm.
and I had no sales.
So by, by
But
by free
yeah,
media, what do you mean specifically?
yeah, so the free media can be like you get into, your local publication, they write a story about you, about the company, about the story, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and then people will just buy your product. And we had our big break with Mass Live, which is the big, like, it was our biggest break. That was our first major publication, and we sold so many
Mm-hmm.
doing that. And you can just keep replicating that process, and then you can just reference the articles you were written in, so it looks more credible, right? And then naturally, word just kind of spreads, and then you have this effect where it's the word of mouth effect. The more people have your product, the more likely they'll show it off and tell other people,
Mm-hmm.
and then you kind of just get the snowball rolling. And that's basically what happened. I had a lot of friends saying, "Oh, he's legit now. Like, I'll buy it." I had teachers,
Bunch of
all
people
that
didn't
stuff. Like,
believe you at first.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which, you know what? Like, look, there are tons of products that fail that go, like, there are so many Indiegogo campaigns that just don't pay back the funders and they don't deliver anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the worst sites for that. So I understand. I mean, it happens all the time in this day and age, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, was there any say your Blendy blender came in?
Yeah.
Was there any issues people bought them, and was there any manufacturing issues with the prototype, or issues with the product that you got you frustrated maybe, and you had to fix things, re-engineer?
So with the actual product itself, that was pretty good. I think the only things that we came across was maybe loose parts inside of it,
Mm-hmm.
but customs when they get through it, they like rifle through the boxes,
Mm-hmm.
and you can tell which boxes they hit because it just looks like a bomb went off. I mean, it's awful.
Really?
And so yeah, I mean, and I think actually one whole box was just gone because
Wow.
of that. I mean, every product was defective. It was shitty. But a lot of people don't see that there was like four prototypes before that.
Mm-hmm.
So all of the iterations and kind of the kinks were worked out in a 6 month period about.
Okay.
So then when we got the final product, it was good. But the things that were kind of bad too is what I didn't account for was the shipping, like the actual canister that the Blendy comes in itself. There's
Mm-hmm.
two plastic ends on the bottle.
Mm-hmm.
If I had one, I'd show you, but they were cracked, and
Mm.
so that was happening a lot. And I didn't like sending out cracked Blendy tops because that just looked bad.
Right.
But sometimes you have to bite the bullet and just go for it. And then also the product booklet is you could tell it was a tough time translating what I wanted into English. So um, that those were two things. Actually, the product booklet's going to get solved here in the next run,
Mm-hmm.
and the shipping containers, the packaging itself is like so much better now. It's all cardboard,
Mm-hmm.
so there's almost no way for it to crack, and that was worked out in the process. After
Okay.
numerous years.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Before we go on, where can people find your product or find more info about this?
Yeah, so they can just go on blendyblender.com, and the whole story is there and everything, and you can order it. I think right now it's only $50, and usually we have it on for 99.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a reason, we are the premium product. I created this because of it's not going to break. I mean, I just posted about this. We've had 3 returns in 2 years and
Wow.
thousands of products sold. So it's a durable product. There's a reason why it's so much. And you can go to competitors and get it, but usually they're Chinese knockoffs, and they're just really, they're crappy. They're not made well. So it's the difference of basically founding it from scratch to just ripping off this Chinese product.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so someone and we'll definitely have a link below in the description. So if you guys are interested, there'll be a link in the description under the video to blendblender.com and the Instagram feed or page. Um, what, why, and how can I? So somebody's listening to this and like, dude, this is the guy I want to talk to.
Yeah.
I have this idea of a prototype. I want to make this. Maybe they're at that 3D stage.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not there yet. How can someone follow the steps? What would you tell this girl or boy?
Yeah, so it's I actually flirted with an idea for a business of being kind of like the middleman for this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that a lot of people say to themselves, "Oh, I want to create like a pen or something, just something so like either unique or they can improve upon it, but they don't really know where to start." Well, a big portion of that is actually finding the manufacturing. And a lot of people don't know that, you can source manufacturing just by doing a Google search. You could just do who makes blenders, and that's basically how I found my manufacturer, right?
Wow,
But that's
really?
that's what, yeah, I mean it's
Okay.
the American manufacturers are so expensive just to get a prototype done.
Mm-hmm.
And I was comparing their quotes with, Chinese manufacturers who could do the same. But the thing is that the blender itself, there's not much unique in the like housing
Mm-hmm.
itself, but it's the design and the blades, which is basically that's the thing that makes it unique, right?
Okay.
That's what sets it apart.
Mm-hmm.
But the motors can be found, all the inner wirings can be found. I mean, those are pretty widely used.
Okay.
So that's a thing is like if you're trying to iterate a brand new product, that will be tough, but it's not undoable because you can find parts that can be, used
Mm-hmm.
for that. But if you're just reiterating a product, making it better, that's a lot easier because then you're just taking a small portion of that product and then making it better. And you can usually find manufacturers to do that very easily.
Okay, and most of them or the cheaper ones are in China.
Yes,
Has
yeah, for sure.
has all of this commotion in politics in the world
Yeah.
affected your business somehow?
No, it's actually gotten better. It's allowed me to focus on Blendy so much more.
Mm-hmm.
And with that being said, it's just been our sales have been out of the park. We've had a lot of B2B sales, which is business to business, more so than business to consumer.
Mm-hmm.
And I've now kind of pivoted to that model where it's more business to business centric. And we're writing, sales email cadence lists and building out a CRM of, retail stores and different companies to partner with that could put their private logo on Blendy to then sell.
Mm.
And those are what really makes the business, kind of boom and what really gets you a lot of money, more
Okay.
so than just, $50 one time, paid by someone, right? That's the problem too, is that is Blendy only is basically a lifetime value of a customer of either one or two. Either they're going to buy it for themselves or buy it as a gift,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So the amount of money we can make off of a consumer is about $100, if not $200. That's not that much.
Right.
So when trying to think about a business as well, you have to think about, okay, what consumer consumables can we create that can be a recurring monthly subscription, or something that is consumed on a monthly basis that needs to be reordered.
Mm-hmm.
Durable product.
Okay, that makes
Yeah,
sense. That's interesting. And also, I was just thinking when you have other companies or other private companies putting their private logos on there, they're almost
yeah,
working as the salesman for Blendy,
yeah,
which helps
yeah.
you
And
out.
and, I became, I guess I become the middleman in a way.
Yeah, you do.
Uh, but it's a good way to make, like, I use it as a way to say this will help your company, especially when you get companies like an Arbonne or an Isogenics, where their whole business model is predicated on healthy drinks and smoothies and their powders.
Mm-hmm.
The Blendy, not only does it just mix it well, but in scientifically speaking, kind of layman's terms, like when you blend something, the blades will cut the molecules. So not only will it be absorbing faster, but just the overall digestion and everything is so much more smoother, and it's a better drinking experience. And then you'll be hitting your nutritional goals faster.
Because it's absorbed better. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense. Um, you mentioned, I'm gonna jump back a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
You started in one school, then you transitioned to another school. And so I'm back at the how can I part.
Yeah.
What was that like? I mean, some people are probably in school, and a lot of people in school are there because of their parents, and they're like, "Hey, mom and dad want me to do this," and but I have
Yeah.
this idea. How do I convince them? Did you have to convince somebody, or friends or family? I don't know how that happened.
No, I didn't have to convince anyone. I
No.
just did it. I mean, it was always my own money.
Mm-hmm.
I never took any money from any. I've never taken any money from anyone, quite honestly. I mean, whatever I won, it's been from shows or just, pitch competitions, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and that's deserved. I've never taken money from anyone, so no one's ever questioned as to like, you can't do this or why are you doing this. They've always just supported me fairly unconditionally, which is awesome.
That is.
Have there been doubts in which is like, you're not, you should prioritize a job over this? Oh yeah, of course,
Okay.
But even myself, I question that all the time too. But until Blendy makes 50 or 60 thousand dollars a year, then it will never be my main income because I do have to maintain a standard of living. And then I can also pour whatever money's left into Blendy to then grow it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also another thing is this will never die. I mean, working on this is not only a part of who I am, but it's just fun. I mean, it's a passion, it's a hobby.
Mm-hmm.
It's like working out to me. It's just fun. I love it. I enjoy it. It could make $0 for me every month, and I'll still do it because you build awesome connections. Like now, I mean, this is a vessel to make an awesome connection and talk with people,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a great reason to do any business.
Yeah, for sure. And
Yeah.
I just this thought came across where if somebody was doing it just for the money, then
Yeah.
they'd probably give up 2 weeks later, if they weren't
Yes.
loving
Yeah.
it. But it seems like for you, this is something where if you can improve the product or create more products for the next 50 years, you'll be doing that because, like you said, it's
Yeah.
a passion and you love doing it.
Yeah.
So the business never, it's like, hey, I built my business. Now I'm just enjoying life. It's always going
Yes.
to be
Exactly.
growing and expanding.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Um,
Yeah. I would say adding on to that real quick is
mhm.
like, if I'm trying to build a pen, I'm not passionate about pens. I was passionate about health. And there's a reason why I created the Blendy.
Yeah.
It was inherent. It was natural to me.
The you said
Yeah.
you mentioned pens. I remember the pen with like 7, 8 different colors on it. That dude
Yeah.
was passionate about pens.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. He was. Yep.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Um. So Blendy, you said $50. There's a deal going on online,
Yeah.
blendyblender.com. $50 for one, or they
Yes.
usually sell for $100.
Yes, they do.
So
Yeah.
that's awesome. That I think
Yeah.
I mean, there's a million more questions that I can ask about
Yeah.
business
Yeah.
and going into details and all this thing, and we can take 2 days and
I know.
literally
There's a lot
figure.
of strategies.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Strategies and all the things you had to go through with creating and starting and prototype
Yeah.
and selling and building a customer base and like you said, pivoting different times to like the different customers
Yeah.
you want to sell to.
Yeah, and we just pivoted because of seeing the competition.
Mm-hmm.
We were seeing that we were getting beat on ads, all day, every day. And when I saw that, I was pretty much saying to myself, okay, well, I have a sales background
Mm-hmm.
and know how to sell to businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And that's usually where the big money is. So why don't we pivot our model to selling to strictly, and focusing mainly on our attention on B2B.
Mm-hmm.
And then whatever residual, business to consumer sales come from that, then awesome. But we're not going to prioritize spending thousands and thousands of dollars on ads, unless the B2B is really taken care of.
See that's crazy because I literally a couple months ago just started following this also a young company, Murti Creative Co. It's a
Yeah.
guy, he makes leather journals and I listen to his podcast sometimes and he says his goal was a B2B type of business.
Yeah.
That didn't work out for him, so now he's more focused on selling directly to the consumer.
Yeah.
So
I
it,
guess with journals that'd be interesting.
yeah.
I'm not sure how that'd be B2B, but
Well,
I'd be curious to know what his thoughts were.
yeah, yeah. So I'm guessing
Yeah.
he was thinking where he could sell in bulk and sell to a
Yeah.
business that would maybe give away to their employees or something like that along
Yeah,
those
like
lines.
yeah,
But
that makes
that's
sense.
that's interesting how to
So yeah, the way I was looking at it is like you see Arbonne Isogenics, they have shaker cups already.
mm-hmm,
So the next iteration for them is just to go the step up to the Blendy and put their label on that, you know?
mm-hmm,
And that's just the way I saw it. And then there's this huge opportunity with shake. Like I was basically seeing what Shaker Bottle did,
mm-hmm,
and I was taking that and saying, well, we're the superior product.
mm-hmm,
Let's just do the same thing. And they still maintained their brand, and they sold plenty in retail. They sold plenty online too.
mm-hmm,
But they also had colleges with their private logo on it. They had Marvel characters with the logo on, the blender bottle. They had whatever. I mean, I'm pretty sure that you could customize your own blender bottle if you wanted to with your own logo.
right.
And they had that kind of like a Nike ID,
Okay.
right? Where you could make your own shoe.
Yeah, yeah,
And I
yeah.
said, that's really cool. We're just going to focus on that for right now until we can get some more money coming in, and then we can funnel into the ads.
So say you start selling Blendy at a gym. So now you have a Blendy 24-hour logo. The gym
Yeah.
sells it, a gold stuff like that. That's super
And they'd
cool.
be ordering thousands,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah,
And now they're doing the selling. They bought the product from you. They're
exactly.
doing the selling. That's pretty
Yeah.
interesting. What's interesting to me is the fact that two totally different businesses started. You wanted to go to the consumer. The business we just talked about wanted to go to the business. You ended up realizing where what makes more sense for your business and making that pivot. Was that a
Yes.
difficult choice to pivot? Did you have to reset a lot of things? Um, because sometimes, when in life we have to pivot, we feel like, okay, well, now I have to restart and feel a little discouraged.
Yeah, the only thing that sucks about it is now the instant dollar gratification of that it's way easier to get a business to consumer sale because it's $50,
Mm-hmm.
whereas a business to business there's a sales cycle involved. I mean, you have to keep in touch with how many, what was your first touch email like? Okay, when do we send the second touch? Are we going to call them? What's their number, right? So there's all these different factors now that you just don't have to worry about that with business to consumer,
Mm.
but you have to identify the buyer, the contact of this business. But it's all very much fun. I mean, it's really cool. And once you hunt them down, I guess you could say, and you get them on the line or you get them responding to email, it's really an awesome feeling.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And there's definitely an art and science behind it.
So
So it's
I
cool.
I guess the art and science is how much can you harass them before you lose them.
Yeah. Oh, I'm totally. I mean, at my job, I've gotten cease and desist letters. I mean, you have to go all out, like, and you have to go until that happens.
Wow.
But they know who you are. I mean, bad press is good press in my mind. A
Yeah,
lot of the
yeah,
time,
yeah.
just at least your name is getting out there.
Right, exactly. And
Yeah,
and who knows, maybe they'll hate and then they'll realize, hey dude, this guy actually has a awesome idea and we can
yeah,
use it. So that's
yeah,
awesome. John, that's it for me, man. Thank you so
yeah.
much for making time, for coming
Of course, thank
on.
you, Presley.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I hope this helps and if you guys are listening to this, and I know there's a bunch of people going, well, not going to the gym now, but still trying to
no, not
eat,
right now.
still trying to eat healthy and working out
Yep.
at home. Definitely check out Blendy. I checked out the product. It looks super cool, super unique, super useful. So you guys can find all the contacts in the description below. Um, John, thank you. Much luck to you, man.
Thank you.
Don't give up.
God bless.
Yeah, God bless you too, man. I'm not trying to inspire you because I'm sure you've been through more things than I can imagine
Yes.
with this Blendy thing. So, anyways, have a good night and take care, man.
Thank you. I
Yes,
appreciate
sir. It was nice
Yeah.
meeting you.
it. You too, man.
Yeah, take care.